All right, everyone. Donald Trump has been hit with another gag order. Of course, this one has to do with the Jack Smith and Chutkans case. This is the Mar-a-Lago documents we're talking about this time. And it's depraved. And literally nobody should accept it. If anything, there should be protests going on. And if Donald Trump were a liberal, I have a feeling that there would already be people organizing on the judge's house's front lawn. And if he were black, I think BLM would be burning Wendy's right now, because this is a clear railroad job at this point. There's no legitimacy anymore to this or any of the other indictment cases against him. It is election interference, and the funny part is they're talking about election interference from 2020 and J6 and things like that as the impetus for why they're going to shut him up. So the fact that Donald Trump is talking about a past election and his opinions with regards to those means that in this election they're going to hobble him from even campaigning. And it's not entirely clear that they understand the irony of this. I think that they think that the public is stupid, and so the public will just sit down and shut up and just sort of go along with it. Trump, meanwhile, immediately reacted that he would appeal the gag order. That was on Truth Social. Maybe he'll get in trouble for even posting. The ramifications of the gag order, I like how the legacy media is calling it rather limited. It's a narrow gag order. Okay. Imagine that you're on trial, and you're not allowed to publicly criticize the prosecutor whose sole job is to put you in prison. That's effectively what this gag order is. So he can't criticize Jack Smith. He can't criticize anyone working in the court. He can't criticize Jack Smith's staff. He can't criticize anything about the process, and this is supposedly a narrow gag order. Now, gag orders are occasionally necessary. You have somebody who's on trial, and the worry is that they're effectively going to spill the beans about classified material or something. Donald Trump has not done that, although that's used as an excuse to justify why he needs to be silenced. Oh my God, while he was a president, he had access to classified material. We're afraid that he might post them online. Okay, unless you remand him into custody, the gag order in and of itself does not prevent him at 2 a.m. dumping a bunch of scanned classified materials if he really wanted to do so. De facto declassification, by the way, as a former president. So that has nothing to do with it. Why should he not be allowed to criticize the person who's literally prosecuting him? Again, we're not even talking about just the court. So Donald Trump is not allowed to disgrace the court by criticizing Judge Chutkans in all of her prime glory. Okay, again, hammer-handed, but the judge is not the one prosecuting him. The judge is the one presiding over the case. Maybe in a lopsided and unfair fashion, but it's a member of the Judiciary. The prosecutor is not a judge. The prosecutor's sole goal in this case, with the charges having been brought at all, is to get a guilty verdict. That's the whole point. He's being prosecuted under these charges for having classified material and misusing it, which is spurious nonsense, as we'll probably see in the court proceedings, but now he's not even allowed to point that out. No, you can't criticize any court staffers. You can't criticize, the judge. You can't criticize the prosecutor. In one hell of a logical stretch, I'd point out, the situation here is not the same as a normal case. I like how they keep trotting out the line, well, nobody is above the law. Donald Trump has to be treated equally. Well, I hate to tell you this, but he's kind of not equal. Firstly, he's a former president, and up until literally now in U.S. history, we've never prosecuted a president or a former president in this manner. That's one difference. Number two, he's the presumptive nominee of a mainline party going into an election season. The primaries are not that far away. The Republicans will be choosing who their standard bearer is. It'll presumptively be Trump, and if this news gets more legs, that is, that more people report on it, I have a feeling within the primaries as polling is about to go up yet again. Meanwhile, Biden is taking one hell of a hammering, which could be why indictment gate is happening in the first place. You're telling me that the front-running candidate for the highest level political office is not even allowed to criticize the process that is effectively defaming him by claiming that he's engaged in widespread business fraud, in espionage, or at least under the Espionage Act, the retention of papers that were not lawful for him to retain, etc., and RICO case, and all of these other things. And he's not allowed to discuss it? despite the fact that he has to get up in front of a podium every other day to talk to people about political issues. And the thing is, Trump gets what he wants, fundamentally, with this. He's back in the news. They don't like to talk about him whenever possible because, then they have to contrast him with Joe Biden and his bullshit, and it doesn't generally look good for poor Joe. So legacy media for months now has been trying to snuff him out by simply not talking about him. So he gets his way in that sense. Number two, he gets his way in that it makes it more transparent that this is a witch hunt. And that is what this is. All four of the cases against Donald Trump are nothing more than political persecution. You have the artificially upgraded fraud charges from Alvin Bragg and the Manhattan DA's office. Charges that often are not levied at all. When they are, they tend to be misdemeanors. A plethora of them that are easily explained that are going to fall through even with a sympathetic jury in Manhattan. You have Letitia James' case, which is as nakedly partisan as it can possibly be, since she effectively is more interested in going on TV or taking to Twitter to talk about how evil Donald Trump is than actually doing paperwork in the case itself. You have Fulton County. Again, somehow the case with Letitia James makes the Fulton one look mild by comparison. That snags a whole array of different individuals as part of racketeering charges, mainly related to the Georgia election case. And then you have Jack Smith's case, which is Donald Trump somehow, unlike every other president of the United States, is not allowed to take his homework home with him. That's basically what the case boils down to the point where they were circulating a sound clip there that they got, the legacy media did, with regards to Trump doing his braggadocio thing and supposedly waving around classified materials with regards to Iran and places like that, and showing it to random guests at the Mar-a-Lago. But you don't have any video footage. You don't have any corroboration by an eyewitness. All you have is an audio clip in which Donald Trump could literally have been waving around a Time magazine given the content and context of what he said in that audio clip. Assuming it's not doctored, of course, we're entering the AI era of everything is possibly fake, so I'm not even going to take it to the bank that the clip is real. Chutkans' gag order is nuts. People should be protesting this. If anything, this should lead to a tidal wave of people posting non-stop derision for Chutkans' court and pointing out how stupid this is. You're not allowed to criticize the person who's trying to put you in federal prison? That seems awfully fair to me, especially when that individual happens to be a presidential candidate who has already served in that role as chief executive and probably will again. Every time that they do this, they get closer to helping re-elect Donald Trump. I hope that it happens just so that they can get some more egg on their face. If for no other reason, even if I thought Trump's going to be basically a placeholder, he's not going to do much, he's going to be like a 4 out of 10 president, he'll be like second-term Ronald Reagan or something, I'd still vote for the dude. At this point, I would vote for him just to flip off the bird to the establishment. I think that everyone else should do so too. That's about all. Peace out.